The sky above Earth changed forever when the Virulon ship appeared. It was not a loud entrance, no fire, no flashing lights, just a giant silver ship floating in silence above Earth's orbit. It shimmered like water under sunlight, smooth and perfect. The world paused. News channels around the globe showed the same image. An alien ship unlike anything seen before. The people of Earth waited, feared, hoped. Then came a message. Not war, not demands, just peace. The message was calm and clear, translated in every language. The Virulons came in peace, not as rulers or enemies. They wanted to talk. They wanted to learn. The United Nations agreed to meet. A team of scientists, diplomats, and military officers were chosen to represent Earth. Among them was Commander Elias Rain, former space pilot and now part of Earth's Defense Council. He was known for keeping calm under pressure. But nothing had prepared him for the first moment he saw her. Scifi, the youngest envoy from Varela, stepped onto Earth's soil in silence. She did not look like the monsters from old alien movies. She was tall and slender, with smooth silver skin that almost glowed under sunlight. Her eyes were large and green like deep forest glass. Her long dark hair was braided with thin silver threads that shimmered as she moved. She wore no weapons. Only a simple dark robe with small glowing symbols near the collar. A translator device hung from her neck, but it was her face quiet. Still curious that Elias remembered most. They were introduced in a quiet hall deep under Geneva. Elias offered his hand. Saren blinked once, hesitated, then slowly placed her hand over his. Virulons didn't shake hands, but she had studied human customs. "Greetings, Commander Elias Rain," she said in perfect English, though her tone was soft and unfamiliar. "I am Scifi of the Virulon Union. I look forward to learning from your people." Elias nodded. "Welcome to Earth, Saren." From that day they were paired together. Elias was to be her guide, helping her understand humans, how they lived, how they loved, how they struggled. Saren was smart, calm, and fast to learn, but something in her seemed different from the other Virulons. She asked questions. Too many sometimes. Why do humans laugh when nervous? One evening, in a quiet garden near a research base, they sat together. The sky was turning orange as the sun began to fall. Birds sang softly nearby. Saren looked at the flowers blooming around them and asked, "Do they bloom for others to see? Or for themselves?" Elias smiled. "Maybe both." She nodded slowly, her eyes thoughtful. "Virulons do not ask such questions." He looked at her. "Why not?" She looked away. "'Cause we were told not to feel." That sentence stayed with him. Later, as he watched her touch the petals of a flower gently with her fingers, Elias felt a strange pull in his chest. Not fear, not duty, something else. She looked at him and asked quietly, "Does it frighten you that I feel things?" Elias shook his head. "No, it reminds me that you're more like us than you think." She didn't answer, but her lips curved, not quite a smile, but close. A small change in her expression, a hint of something. Growing in that moment, Elias Rain understood that this mission was more than peace talks, more than trade or knowledge exchange. Something deeper was happening between two people from different stars, and it had just begun. From the moment Scifi began to feel emotions, her journey on Earth changed. She no longer looked at humans the same way. She didn't just observe them. She wanted to understand them deeply. The laughter, the tears, the way people hugged each other, or the way someone stared at the sky when they missed someone. These things were not part of her world, but now they were starting to become a part of her. Commander Elias Rain noticed the change. Saren asked more questions, but her tone was no longer cold or scientific. It was personal. One day she and Elias visited a school in Geneva. Children ran around the playground, laughing, falling, getting up again. One small girl offered Saren a flower. Saren took it carefully, surprised. "Why did she give me this?" "She probably just wanted to share something beautiful," Elias replied. Saren stared at the small flower for a long time. "There is no reason, no deal, no rule?" "Not everything needs a reason," Elias said. "Sometimes it just comes from the heart." Saren whispered. We were taught that the heart is weak. Elias shook his head. We're wrong. Later that afternoon, they visited a music hall. A violinist played a soft, sad melody, slow, emotional, full of memory. Saren sat perfectly still, her eyes closed. When the music stopped, Elias turned to her and saw something he didn't expect. Tears rolled down her silver cheek. She opened her eyes, confused. What is this feeling? My chest feels heavy, but it's not pain. That's sadness. Elias said gently, music can do that. It can remind you of things you never even knew you lost. But I've never lost anything, she said. Maybe you have, he said softly. You just forgot how it felt. Saren didn't speak for a long time after that. As days passed, her connection to Earth grew stronger. She started painting. In the quiet hours of the night, abstract colors, shapes, sometimes blurry images that looked like stars or faces. Elias found her in the art room once, standing before a half-finished painting. I don't know what this is, she said. But I feel better after making it. That's emotion turning into art, he said. Humans do that all the time. Oh, she smiled faintly. It feels right. Elias watched her carefully. She was not just learning, she was changing. It was both beautiful and dangerous, because he knew what could happen, for people found out. Virelans had erased emotions. From their society long ago, they believed feelings caused war, destruction, chaos. Logic ruled their world. They had peace, but no passion, no dreams, no love. And Saren was becoming something they feared. One evening, as they walked through a quiet park filled with lights and trees, Saren turned to Elias. Do you think emotions are worth the pain? She asked. Yes, he said without thinking. Even if it hurts, it means you're alive. Feeling is not weakness. It's strength. She looked up at the stars. On Virella, no one would say such a thing, Elias replied. Then maybe they've forgotten what it means to live. She turned toward him, her eyes shining slightly under the moonlight. And you, why do you help me so much? I am not your kind, because Elias said quietly, you remind me that we're not so different. And maybe we were. Never meant to be. Her eyes searched his face. Sometimes I wonder if we were meant to find each other. He felt his heart beat faster, but said nothing. For a long moment, they stood in silence. The world around them was calm, but something between them was changing slowly, gently like the tide. Back at the base, Saren began keeping a journal. Her handwriting was small and neat, and she filled pages with thoughts, dreams, even poems. One poem was about a star that forgot how to shine until it saw the Elias frowned. You don't have to go. I must, she said. But I'm scared, not of them, of losing this. He looked at her, not as a guide or a commander, but as someone who cared. You're not alone, Saren, he said, no matter what happens. She looked at him with eyes that were no longer cold, no longer alien, and for the first time, she smiled, fully, truly. The night was quiet. Stars blinked above the snowy mountains near the Arctic base. A soft wind moved through the pine trees, and the sky shimmered with green lights. The aurora danced like gentle waves in the sky. Elias and Saren stood outside the research dome, dressed in thick jackets. The snow crunched under their boots. It was the last night before Saren had to return to the Virelon ship for her evaluation, but they were not talking about it. It's not yet. Instead, they were watching the sky. Saren's silver skin reflected the green light, and her dark hair moved softly in the wind. Her eyes were fixed upward. She spoke first. Your sky feels alive. Elias smiled a little. It is. We call that the Northern Lights. Long ago, people believed they were spirits dancing in the sky. Do you believe that? I think, Elias said. We believe in stories when science isn't enough. Sometimes, the heart understands what the mind cannot. Saren nodded slowly. We lost our stories. He looked at her. Why? She didn't answer at first. Then, in a soft voice, she said there was a war. Many centuries ago, a great one. Our world almost ended. Our leaders believed emotions caused the war. Hate, jealousy, fear, love. So they changed us. Elias listened silently. Saren continued. They erased our ability to feel. Not fully, but deeply. Our science made it possible. Children are born now without strong emotions. We are trained to think, not feel. But you. Feel, Elias said gently. She looked down. I wasn't supposed to. Something went wrong in my mind, they said. They call it a defect. I don't think it's a defect, Elias said. I think it's a gift. Saren looked at him with sad eyes. Then why do I feel afraid? Because feelings are real. They don't make life easy. They make it true. A silence grew between them, deep and heavy, but not uncomfortable. Saren pulled out a small instrument from her coat. It looked like a thin silver flute with glowing lines. She held it to her lips and played a soft tune, low, slow, full of mystery. The notes floated into the cold air. The song had no words, but it said so much. Elias closed his eyes and listened. When she finished, he asked, "Was that a Virulin song?" She nodded. "A song from before the war. Few remember it now. It was passed down secretly by one of my ancestors. You've kept it alive." She smiled a little. "I play it when I feel too much. It's beautiful," Elias said. She hesitated, then asked, "Do you dream, Elias?" He nodded. "All the time. Virulins don't dream anymore. At least most don't. But I've been dreaming ever since I came to Earth." "What do you see in your dreams?" She looked up at the stars again. A garden, with glowing trees and voices calling my name. "And sometimes I see you." Elias blinked, surprised. "Me?" She nodded, her voice small. "I don't understand why." Elias didn't know what to say. Felt something rising in his chest, something warm and painful at the same time. He looked at her and saw how far she had come. She was no longer just an alien visitor. She was something more. "Saren," he said quietly, "you're becoming more human every day." "I'm becoming something my people fear," she replied. "And I don't know what that makes me." "It makes you brave." She looked into his eyes, really looked, and for a moment the world seemed to stop. "I'm afraid they will take this away from me," she whispered. "This feeling, this life, this." She stopped. Elias stepped closer. The snow crunched under his boots. He wanted to reach for her hand, but stopped himself. "You don't have to go through it alone," he said. Saren's voice was soft. "But what if I come back? Different. Then I'll help you remember." She finally smiled, a true smile, full of emotion, full of hope. They stood side by side under the stars for a long time, saying nothing. The cold air touched their faces, but they didn't move. That night, something unspoken grew between them. Not love yet, but the seed of it. A connection born not from duty or logic, but something deeper, something human. And as the auroras danced above them, Saren silently wished for one impossible thing, that when she returned, the feeling in her heart would still be there. After her return from the Virulin ship, Saren was quieter. She had passed her mental evaluation, but something had changed. Elias could see it in her eyes. They no longer looked at the world with the same open wonder. Now there was a shadow behind them, as if she had seen something or been warned. Still, she stayed on Earth. The Council had agreed to extend her time for further study of human life. But Elias knew, as they were watching her. One morning, they visited the Earth History Museum in Geneva. The building was large and filled with relics from Earth's past, weapons, tools, art, and small pieces of memory from every corner of the world. Saren moved slowly through the halls, stopping often to stare at simple things. Akyle, her eyes locked onto the pendant. She stepped closer. Slowly, as if pulled by some invisible force. Where did you get that?" she asked, her voice shaking. Elias looked down at the necklace, then back at her. "This was my mother's. She gave it to me when I was a boy." "Why?" Her hands trembled. "It's the same. Exactly the same." "What do you mean?" Saren pointed toward a glass display case just a few feet away. Inside was an ancient artifact, a silver pendant, almost identical to the one Elias wore. Same shape, same curve, same marking in the center. He moved closer, surprised. "That's impossible." Saren's voice dropped to a whisper. It's not impossible. It's forgotten. She stared at both necklaces. This symbol, she said, pointing to the carved line through the middle of the teardrop, is an ancient Virulon sign. It means shared soul or linked fate. It was used thousands of years ago by our explorers, when we still felt emotion. Elias stood in silence, his heart beating fast. "You saying yes?" Saren said. "Your people were visited long ago. Before your written history, we believed those stories were myths. But this proves they were real." Elias stepped back, stunned. "That means humans and Virulons, we may be connected. Deeply, long before we knew each other now." She touched the glass with trembling fingers. "Some of your ancestors might have Virulon roots. Maybe that's why I feel things so strongly here. Maybe that's why I dream of this place." Elias pulled the necklace from around his neck and placed it beside the glass case. It was almost an exact match. The only difference was a small chip on the bottom of his pendant, likely from years of wear. "This can't be a coincidence," he said. Saren nodded. "It's not." They stood in silence for a long moment. Then she whispered, "Maybe this is why we found each other." Elias looked at her. Eyes were wide, full of questions and emotion. She didn't look like an alien now. She looked like someone searching for meaning, for truth, for home. He spoke softly. "Do you think your people will accept this?" She shook her head. "They will deny it or destroy the evidence. Feelings are dangerous to them. This connection, this necklace, it proves too much." Elias gently reached out and placed the necklace back around his neck. "Well," he said, "then we'll have to protect the truth ourselves." Saren looked at him, her eyes shining. "Why would you do that?" "'Cause you're not just an envoy anymore," Elias said. "You're part of this now. Part of us." For a moment she couldn't speak. Then she said quietly, "I feel like I've been searching for this my whole life. I didn't even know it." They left the museum together, hearts heavy and full. Outside, the sky was cloudy. Snow began to fall again, and though the world felt colder, the space between them felt warmer, filled with a new truth, shared past, and a future yet to be written. The days after the museum visit felt different. Elias and Saren didn't speak much about the necklace, but the weight of its meaning stayed between them. It wasn't just an object anymore, it was a sign that their worlds might have crossed long ago, that their meeting now wasn't just chance. Something larger was happening. That evening the sky was clear. Stars blinked in the black night, quiet and steady. Leah sat alone in the observatory dome at the Arctic base, staring through the large glass panels above. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the machines around him. Then the door opened softly. Saren stepped in. She wore a dark cloak over her uniform, and her eyes seemed brighter than usual, but not from the stars, from something inside her. Elias stood. "Couldn't sleep either?" She shook her head. "No. Too many thoughts." She turned to him. "They don't see it that way." Silence fell again, thick and full of tension. Then Saren took a deep breath. And for the first time since they met, she looked unsure of herself. Her silver cheeks had a soft pink glow. A sign, Elias now understood, was how. Virulon showed emotional overload. She was blushing. She stepped closer, her voice lowered. "Elias, may I ask you something, of course?" She hesitated. Her eyes dropped to the floor, then rose slowly to meet his. "If I asked you to leave Earth, would you come with me?"
Ow!
The question hung in the air like a thunderclap. Elias stared at her, not sure he had heard it right.
What Saren repeated.
Softer this time. "Will you come with me?" To Virella, his heart raced. "Why?" She looked away, gathering herself. "Because I cannot go back alone. My emotions are growing stronger. I don't want to lose them. I don't want to lose this connection. But if I go alone, they may try to take it away." Elias didn't speak. Saren continued, "If you are with me, maybe they will listen. Maybe I'll be safe. Maybe they'll see what I see in you." He stepped back slightly, his mind spinning. Saren going to Virella, that's not just travel. That's leaving everything behind. "I know," she said, voice shaking. "That's why I said it's unthinkable. But I had to ask. Because I trust you." Elias sat down, trying to process her words. Virella. A world he had only seen in images. A planet far from Earth. a place where humans were still unknown, a place where emotions were feared, and now she wanted him to go there. Not just as a visitor, but as someone she trusted, someone who meant something to her. He looked at her again. Her hands were trembling slightly. Her eyes looked hopeful, but also afraid. He saw the emotion in her face, real, raw, honest. This wasn't just a mission anymore. This was something deeper. I don't know if I can go, Elias said softly. It's a big choice. My life, my work, my world, it's all here. I understand, she said quickly. You don't have to decide now. I had to ask. He looked at her closely. Why now? She hesitated, then whispered, because if I wait, I may never get the chance again. Elias stood again. He walked to her and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. Thank you for trusting me with something this important. She nodded. I need time, he said. I know. They stood together under the stars, side by side, close but silent. The sky above them stretched wide, full of distant suns and quiet promises. And in that moment, Elias Rain understood just how much had changed, not only in her, but in him too. He didn't know what his answer would be, but deep inside, something whispered that he was already halfway there. Commander Elias Rain had never left Earth's solar system before. He had flown near the moon. He had trained on space stations. But this journey was different. He was now sitting inside a sleek, silver Virulon shuttle. The walls were smooth, like glass, and everything was quiet. No engine sound, no rattling metal, no flashing lights. It was a calm silence, like floating inside a dream. Beside him sat Serenkai, eyes focused on the stars ahead. They had left Earth without permission. It was a risk, but the message from the Virulon High Council had made things clear. She was to return immediately and alone, when no humans were allowed. But Saren had chosen differently. She had chosen Elias, and he had chosen her. Their escape from Earth had been silent and fast. The Virulon shuttle was cloaked from human radar. Only a few trusted scientists at the Arctic base had helped them leave secretly without alerting. The Global Council now, as Earth became a tiny blue dot behind them, Elias felt a strange mix of feelings: excitement, fear, wonder, and something he had no name for. Are you sure about this? He asked quietly. Saren looked at him. Her face was calm, but her hands were clasped tightly. No, she admitted. But I know that going alone would have broken me. Elias nodded. Then we'll face it together. She smiled softly. The stars outside the shuttle grew brighter. Time and space blurred. The Virulon ship entered a warp tunnel, a glowing pathway through folded space. It looked like flying through liquid light. Elias stared in amazement. This is beautiful. Saren nodded. It's like traveling through a dream. As the stars rushed past, Elias noticed Saren was quiet again. What are you thinking? He asked. I'm thinking about what they'll say when they see you, she replied. You're the first human to ever set foot on Varela. He took a deep breath. I hope they're ready. She paused, then said, Some won't be. I will protect you. You've already protected me, he said gently, more than you know. Later, Saren dozed off in the seat beside him. For the first time, Elias saw her sleep peacefully, her head resting against the side panel, her fingers still holding her pendant. She had started wearing a second necklace, the one from the museum. It had been given to her by the scientists, who helped them escape. It was proof of their shared history, Virulon and human. Now, she wore it close to her heart. Hours passed. Elias watched the stars, thought of Earth, thought of his old life, the one he had left behind. And strangely, he didn't miss it, not yet. He turned toward Saren. She began to stir, eyes opening slowly. I had another dream, she whispered. What did you see? A mountain covered in blue flowers, and someone waiting at the top. Who? Saren looked at him and gave a soft smile. I don't know. But it felt like family. Elias nodded. Maybe it's something from your past, memory your people forgot. Maybe, she said. Or maybe it's something from our future. Suddenly, the shuttle lights blinked red. A voice came through the ship's system, a calm, robotic tone. Virulon, security cruiser detected. Interception in progress. Saran's face turned pale. They found us. Elias stood. What now? She walked quickly to the control panel. We're too close to Varela now. We can't outrun. Then the stars ahead shifted. Large dark shape appeared. A Virilan warship. It was 10 times the size of their shuttle. With glowing lines along its wings and a bright light at its center, a voice came through the speaker. This time firm and cold. Saren, return immediately. You are in violation of council order. The human is to be surrendered. Saren didn't answer. Elias stepped forward. We need to talk to them. They won't listen, she said. Not unless we show them something undeniable. She reached into her bag and pulled out the 2 pendants, hers and his. Come with me, she said. They moved to the shuttle's center where a small circle of light opened in the floor. It was a transmission platform used to send messages. In image form, Saren placed both necklaces on it. Send this, she told the ship. Let them see. The warship paused. Silence followed. Then the voice returned, this time slower. Message received. Stand by. The shuttle floated still in. Space Saren took Elias's hand. If this doesn't work, she whispered. He squeezed her hand. Then we find another way. She looked at him, eyes full of light, and for the first time since they had left Earth, she felt no fear, only hope. The shuttle landed slowly on the surface of Varela. From above, the planet looked silver blue, like a pearl floating in the stars. Its clouds moved in smooth, soft patterns, and its seas glowed faintly under the light of its twin moons. The land was filled with tall crystal trees, shining rivers, and floating towers of quiet beauty. But today was tension in the air. At the landing platform, dozens of Virilan guards stood waiting. They wore dark robes and silver armor, their eyes emotionless, their faces still. Saren and Elias stepped out of the shuttle. Side by side, whispers passed between the guards when they saw the human. A tall Virilan male stepped forward. His robe carried golden patterns. He was a council elder. Saren, he said calmly, you disobeyed direct orders. You brought an outsider to our world. Why? Saren took a deep breath. Because I could not return alone. Because I carry something the council needs to see. She reached into her cloak and lifted both necklaces, hers and Elias's. The elder's eyes narrowed. Those are ancient. They are the same, she said, from different worlds. Yet they match in shape, in symbol. It means our people met humans long ago, and the knowledge was hidden or forgotten. Elias stepped forward. My mother gave me this necklace. She didn't know where it came from, just that it had been in our family for generations. Maybe even before written history. Another elder spoke. This proves nothing. It could be a copy. Saren's voice grew stronger. Then test it. Study its metal. Read the symbol. This is not just a copy. This is history. The council members looked at one another. Then, without a word, they turned and led Saren and Elias into the Hall of Unity, a wide chamber made of shining white stone where all decisions were made. Inside, a group of scientists scanned the pendants. One of them gasped. It is real, she said. The material is Virilan, crystal, older than any found in this system. The design matches ancient explorer marks from our lost archives. Whispers filled the hall. Another elder stood up. This changes everything. But the High Elder frowned. Even if it is true, we cannot allow emotions to return. They destroyed us once. They will do so again. Saren stepped forward. That is not true. You fear emotion because of the past. But without emotion, we are only half alive. I have felt sadness, joy, fear, wonder, and love, and I am still here. I am stronger because of it. The High Elder raised an eyebrow. Love. Saren turned and looked at Elias. Then she nodded. Yes. Elias felt his chest tighten. She continued, Elias taught me that emotion is not weakness. It is understanding. It is what brings meaning to life. There was silence in the hall. Then a voice came from the side, a young Viralan, a scientist. She is right. When I heard her music, I felt something too. A memory. A warmth I didn't know I had. Others began to murmur. Some nodded. Some looked uncertain. The High Elder stood. If this human means so much to you, then let him speak. Let him tell us what it means to feel. All eyes turned to Elias. He stepped forward slowly. I'm not here to change your world, he said. I'm just a man who lost his mother and carried a necklace I didn't understand until now. I've seen pain. I've seen war. But I've also seen people give everything for someone they love. That is what makes us human. He looked at Saren, and maybe it's what makes us virulent too. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the High Elder sat down slowly. It is time to open the path we once closed. In the days that followed, things began to change on Varela. The council agreed to form a new program, a shared memory project, where humans and Varelans would exchange old stories, songs, and emotions through art, language, and dreams. Saren was chosen to lead it, and Elias. He was named the first human ambassador of feeling a bridge between two hearts. 2 stars. On the night of the first Unity ceremony, Saren stood beside him in a hall filled with glowing lights and soft music. Virelans who had never smiled before now sang quietly. Children painted stars with human and alien hands. Saren turned to Elias, eyes bright. I never imagined this day. Elias smiled. It's only the beginning. She reached for his hand, this time without hesitation. And under the twin moons of Varela, they stood as symbols of something beautiful. 2 souls, once lost in different skies, now finding a single path together.